We're going to be doing some transitions, so banging trannies, as some of you like to call it. I know some of you are into that. Personally, I don't think it's for me, but I'm sure plenty of you have visited Thailand for a certain purpose. So, hey everyone, do you like big heavy pistols? Because I got some news for you. This is the brand new P320 X5 Legion. It was newly added to the California Handgun Roster. We're going to talk about briefly some of the features of this gun. I'm going to show you shooting it, and then I'm going to give you my impressions of it after having about 1,000 rounds through it over the last 2 days. So if we take a look at this gun here, we'll talk about some of the key features of it. Now, this gun is a P320 with a manual safety, which some people like, some people don't like. This gun has been drop tested by the California Department of Justice. This gun is safe to drop. I put some primed rounds in there with no powder, no nothing, just a primer, and I dropped it. I bashed it on the ground a whole bunch and nothing happened. So drop safety is not a concern on this gun. Did SIG fumble the ball pretty badly with that initial release? Yeah, I'm not going to give him any credit for that, or I'm not going to give him any leeway for that. So this gun here uses a P320 fire control unit. It is a pretty standard fire control unit in the sense that the trigger is what's seen on a lot of their X models. It differs, though, from having the grip module being a polymer grip module that is tungsten infused with a magwell. This gun, even though it's polymer, technically, it weighs about 30-something ounces. If you want to know the exact specs on all that stuff, you can find that online. But it's very heavy, it handles very nice. It comes with 2 recoil springs that are not captive. 2 recoil springs of different weight. I've been using the one that it ships with, which is very light, which makes the slide very smooth. It's very easy to rack this compared to some smaller guns. Probably something that you can tune if you like using the heavier spring. This gun, P320 X5 Legion, physical safety that is usable. I'm not a huge fan of physical safeties, so I tend to just always switch it off, and then when I draw, I try to remember to flick it off anyway in case I didn't. I have the Vortex Defender ST on this gun here. I removed the loaded chamber indicator and the magazine disconnect. I then put a Mod Light flashlight on it. It is very big and beefy, but on a gun this large, it really does make sense. This, however, is not the new Vortex Defender XL. It's the standard full-size model that is cut for Delta Point Pro mounts, which this gun is meant to be used with Delta Point Pro cut optics. If you put an optic on it, it removes the rear sight, so you just have a front sight that is very bright. You can probably even see it. It's a fiber optic front sight that is very, very bright. You can kind of see it even though it's sort of blurry there. But it's very usable. I did not really shoot with irons at all because I immediately took the irons off of this gun. Now, when you remove the loaded chamber indicator, it does get dirty on the optic, but we'll talk about why that does not matter at all. Anyways, let's get out onto the range, shoot it a little bit, and I'll give you my final impressions of this gun after shooting about 1,000 rounds through it in the last 2 days. So this course of fire that we're starting out with is going to be the entirety of the California Department of Justice required standards to get your CCW permit to carry a firearm. We're going to be doing this from an outside the waistband holster with mag carriers on the side here. There will be a mandatory reload because I'm going to do this all at once with no time in between, which is going to make it take longer for me to do, but I want to see if I can complete it in under the par time. The first 4 strings of fire are repeated twice. The last one at 7 yards is only done once. So to start, it's going to be 3 yards, 2 rounds in under 3 seconds from combat ready. So low ready, boom, 2 rounds. Back down, boom, 2 rounds. Then it's holstered, 2 rounds at 3 yards in under 5 seconds. Holstered again and do that again. Then at 5 yards, it's low ready, failure drill. 2 to the body, 1 to the head. 2 to the body, 1 to the head. Holstering each time. Then I'm going to need an object in my hands. I'm going to drop that object, grab my gun, fire 2 rounds from holstered in under 5 seconds at 5 yards. That's done twice. Then at 7 yards, only once, it's from holstered, up 6 rounds in under 10 seconds. Now, any one of those things individually, I'm blowing it out of the water completely. But we're going to try to do this in the total par time of about 40 seconds. So we're going to try to do that from hands up, holstered, and then low ready, doing all of that in 1 string of fire. So let's see if we can get that done. I'm going to have to reload twice. It is 24 rounds, I believe, and I think you can miss 4 times or maybe 5, but I'm not going to miss. These targets are smaller than the required B27 targets, but let's see if we can get it done. The hardest part of this is going to be remembering everything that I have to do. And then okay, object in hands, drop it. Object in hands, drop it. Okay. Okay, that was 24 shots, which was the correct number of shots in a par time of 40 seconds. Now, again, the hardest part of that was simply remembering everything to do. And if we take a look at the targets here, so 3 rounds, we're barely even using the sights. 5 rounds, barely even using the sights. All in the A zone, and then we did not hit the head box, but for the target purposes, it's just the entire head that you have to hit. It's not the actual like A zone box. I don't think we can call that a line perforation, but we're still basically in the A zone. With the reload in between, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all in the A zone. Again, the entirety of the course of fire is fairly easy to accomplish, and the hardest part about that was simply remembering everything that I had to do in the correct order. Okay, so we're gonna do the same drill, same course of fire, but this time I'm not gonna do it under speed. We're gonna be focusing more so on whether or not I can do this without sights. So this gun has a red dot on it. When you put the red dot on the X5 Legion, you get rid of the rear sight. Has a front sight, but I've taped over the front and back of this red dot. So everything that we're gonna be doing is just based purely on index shooting. I've got the targets, they're not marked, but I will know if I miss because there's a certain number of hits on the targets. We're gonna see if I can complete this without any sights whatsoever. Now, we obviously know that speed is not a concern for me. I was able to do the entire course of fire with holstering, unholstering, picking things up, all that stuff in under the par time. 10 seconds for a 7-yard bill drill is nothing. That's so easy. It's incredibly easy. We're just gonna see if we can do this without sights at all, just by index shooting, which is a skill that you should definitely work on. I'm not saying that you should be required to do this in any way in order to get a CCW. I'm not saying that the CCW requirements need to be harder. I'm just sort of indicating what you can do with any amount of practice. This is the second time ever that I've actually shot this gun. Yesterday I took it out and put 700 rounds through it over the course of an hour, got the gun really hot. I'm just trying to see what is capable with this gun, do some testing with it in some interesting ways. 2 rounds, low ready. Okay. Okay. All those shots right in the A zone. Okay, so then it was holstered, hands up. Okay. Same thing. Now, all of those still in the A zone, not even using my sights at all. So now it is 5 yards, combat ready, failure drill. Now, the only part that I think I'm gonna maybe potentially miss is the head box. I'm gonna try to tend to be low, but we'll see if we can do it. Okay, we still got that in the head box. I'm proud of that. Okay, again, now, and both of those were in the A zone for the body shots. Again, both in the A zone, and then I didn't hit the A box in the head, but we still hit it in the head. Okay. And now it is 5 yards holstered, something in my hands. You got to drop it and do 2 rounds. So I'm texting on my phone. Oh shit. Okay. And we'll do that again. You're texting, boop, boop, boop. Oh my God, there's a mass shooter. Okay. So now the last one is a bill drill. I'm gonna top off this mag solely so I don't have to do a reload midway through it. Now I believe it's hands up bill drill. Okay, that 7th shot went off target, and not off target, but off the A box. But all of these hits, if we take a look at them, without sights, including the rounds from before, all in the A zone. Now, again, so all of these hits, except for that one shot that I missed earlier, I don't know, we can't really call that a perforation, but perf, A box, and now that's with a failure drill at 5 yards without sights at all. The last shot that I fired was this bad boy here, but other than that, so I fired 7 on accident because I miscounted. So A zone, 7 yards without sights. Okay, so we're gonna do some transition drills. We're gonna do 2-2-2. Again, got target set up at 3, 5, and 7. We're gonna start far and come near, and then start near and go far. We're gonna be doing some transitions, so banging trannies, as some of you like to call it. I know some of you are into that. Personally, I don't think it's for me, but I'm sure plenty of you have visited Thailand for a certain purpose. So we're gonna do some transitions. So what you can kind of work on as you go far to near, I'm not a trainer, I'm not an instructor, but just something that I try to do is I try to be slower and speed up as you get closer, or slow down as you get further. With 7 yards, it's not really that tough. And with this sort of distance, I'm trying to keep the cadence like boom, 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 boom. You know, I'm trying to keep the time between the second shot and the first shot on the next target as close as I can. Because as the gun is resetting, I want it to already be there. My eyes go there first, and then as the gun is resetting, I'm already ready to go. So that's what I'm trying to work on. I'm not the best shooter in the world, but we're just gonna do a little bit of demonstration. How did that happen? Did I not load these to 10? Man, I'm so not used to shooting 10-round mags. It's just not my jam. So we're gonna do a bill drill real quick. I think I got probably enough rounds to do a bill drill. Actually, let's just go ahead and top this off. We're gonna shoot 6 rounds from holstered at the 7-yard target. So I was in a 2.66. My thoughts on the P320. I'm sorry for being shirtless. It's like 105 degrees out right now, and I literally have to use my shirt to block my camera because it's already overheated twice while trying to record this. So if you don't like that, just look away. You can just listen to it and just close your eyes, cover your eyes. So we're talking about the P320 X5 Legion that just got added to the California Handgun Roster. I'm going to talk to you about accuracy, reliability, what I like about the feels, how it shoots, some problems with it from the factory that you can easily address. Well, I'm putting that in air quotes, problems, because they're not really problems, and they're very solvable. So let's talk about what this is real quick. P320 X5 Legion. This is a polymer frame, full-size competition setup kind of pistol that uses a P320X fire control unit. Now, from the factory, it has a loaded chamber indicator and a magazine disconnect. That's crazy, right? There's no magazine in there. Anyways, whoa, look at that. There's a hole there. So then I also put a mod light flashlight on it, and then this Vortex Defender ST. This is not the XL. This is just the standard full-size one that is cut for a Delta Point Pro cut. Because the X5 Legion, you can only use optics that are cut for a Delta Point Pro, which includes, I believe, the SIG Romeo series, some of them, and then also the Vortex Defender, and obviously the Delta Point Pro. And I do want to say thank you to Ammo Bros for sending me out this optic. They reached out to me a while ago and said, hey, do you have any use for this optic? We're not asking for anything in return. They've hooked me up with some stuff in the past, and they always say, we're not asking for a shout out, but I'm giving them a shout out. If you're in Southern California, check out Ammo Bros. This Vortex Defender ST was sent to me by them, and it saved me some money on this review, so I could actually afford to put the amount of rounds through it that I need to. So that's the features of this gun. Has a mag well. We'll talk about some of the problems with this gun. Obviously, the magazine disconnect, obviously the loaded chamber indicator, but it seems as if those have fallen out of my gun. Now, it comes with a physical safety, and the fire control unit is cut for that safety notch, but you can get the replacement parts to remove that safety so that you don't have to use a safety if you do not want to, if that's your cup of tea. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of physical safeties, but I find it not very difficult to just draw, bring it up, and shoot and flick that safety off. Now, one problem with this magwell, you basically have to use magazines that have some sort of base plate like this. This is the X5 Legion base plates. Thankfully, this gun comes with 3 magazines, so that's nice, but these are 10 rounds. A lot of my P320 full-size magazines that I have don't actually work with this because they have a standard base plate, but you can just buy +0 base plates that work with the X5 Legion magwell, or you could just remove the magwell by unscrewing one screw. Now, loaded mag, unloaded gun, just going to show you, this is a 21 round magazine. This works just fine. The 30 round magazine goes in, works just fine. Obviously, the X5 Legion mags that it comes with goes in, and they fit kind of flush. The standard capacity 17 round full-size magazines with the normal P320 base plates don't work. You can replace the base plates, but that's an additional cost, and that's one thing that kind of is unfortunate about SIG. Their magazines aren't cheap. They're not Glock mags. You know, Glock mags, ubiquitous, inexpensive, great. P320s, I don't know what is preventing them from designing this magwell to work with those base plates, or why they haven't switched away from those base plates entirely. It's beyond me, but the base plates are inexpensive. You can find them online. You can get the right ones. It's pretty easy to do. So we've talked about the features of this gun. Obviously, it uses a P320 fire control unit, so you could swap out the grip, slide, all that jazz if you want to, put it in some sort of chassis system if you want. You could do whatever you want with this, but we're talking about the gun in its current configuration as it is sold. So let's talk about accuracy. Well, I shot it at 10 yards, shot about 700 rounds at 10 yards at a little indoor range. That was great. Got it real hot, shot all 700 rounds over the course of an hour. I had no problems with accuracy. I dialed in this. Now you'll notice that when you replace the red dot, it replaces the rear sight. So you don't use that really nuclear bright fiber optic front sight when you have a red dot. You can kind of line up the front sight with these notches that you can sort of see here, but I didn't even really worry about that. When I'm shooting, I'm very much target focused, which brings me to my next point. A lot of people talk about online, and you can use this as an immediate identifier of whether or not someone truly understands how to shoot a red dot pistol. Loaded chamber indicator leaves a little hole. That hole causes gunk to build up on that optic window. Is that a problem? Absolutely not. So here's why. You can, and I demonstrate this obviously in the video that you saw earlier, you can cover up the optic completely. And if you're shooting as you're supposed to be, target focused, you just bring the gun up, you're looking at your target, and you bring the dot to your face. You're not focusing on the window. You're not focusing on the dirt on the window. You're not focusing on the dot at some weird point in distance. You are looking at the target with both eyes. Now, if you have two eyes, it's fine. Even if you have the TISM. Now, I got the TISM pretty heavily, both the autism and the astigmatism. And even with my astigmatism, this dot, totally fine, target focused, bring the gun up, shoot. That's it. You can completely cover up this optic like people do to practice competition shooting, where they shoot occluded, where they cover it up, and if you have two eyes open, you can just see that dot. And if you had two eyes, you would be able to see what I was looking at, which is my truck over there, but it's not a problem at all. Let's talk about the grip. There is one thing that I don't really like about this grip. If I want to kind of ride the safety on any P320, you cannot really ride the safety without also riding this slide catch. So if I'm up here and I'm trying to ride the safety like a 1911, because a lot of 1911 shooters, they shoot with their thumb kind of on the safety. You can't really do that with this gun because you would end up preventing the slide catch from catching the slide. In addition to that, there's something about when I torque my hand up like this into it, it's kind of uncomfortable. It digs into these edges here. So if I try to get my thumb up here, you can see it just digs in right there, and it's not super comfortable. So I just grab it like normal. I'm not as high up as maybe I could be if I was like really trying to get up in there, but that's not comfortable, and it kind of leaves some dead space of lack of pressure in the back of the grip. So I just grip the gun tight, sport hand tight, no problem at all. It's really not an issue. It's just, if you're used to 1911s and riding that big extended safety, you can't really do that with this gun, but you can't really do that with any P320. So magazine disconnect from the factory works. Wow, that's weird. Mine doesn't. Loaded chamber indicator, normally on a gun. Wow, mine's not there. Whatever. You can remove the safety if you want to, like I said. It also comes with an additional spring, which I can't show you this on camera, so we're gonna do some stuff over here. This spring and guide rod in the gun is not captive. So if I were to take this guide rod out, the spring is replaceable. It comes with one that's marked orange, one that I believe is marked blue. The one that comes in it from the factory is the lighter spring. And when I first shot this gun, I got it home from my FFL. I put the red dot on it, and in my excitement, I went straight to the range. I shot 700 rounds over the course of an hour, did not lube it. Whoopsie. It didn't cause any problems with reliability. Shot another 350 today. Didn't cause any problems with reliability. I lubed it up yesterday after shooting, but not had any problems with reliability. But there's one thing I want to note. This slide, very, very light. And so if I'm holding the trigger down and I ease it forward, you can see it doesn't really go all the way into battery. Now, obviously, when it's reciprocating, it's not a problem. I tried to the best of my abilities, induce a malfunction by putting a ton of forward pressure with my thumb on the slide. I was trying to get it to catch into these grooves here, and when it was shooting, I could not get it to not go back into battery. So could I use the stiffer spring to maybe alleviate that issue? Yeah. Was it an issue? No. Do I foresee it being an issue? No, because I'm gonna keep this gun lubed. You know, I'm probably not gonna clean it that often until I notice like malfunctions, but like I said, I've got about 1,000 rounds through it so far. 700 was shot basically dry and incredibly fast, to the point that this gun was getting so hot, the takedown lever on the side was too hot to touch. I had to shoot it with gloves. The grip was starting to heat up. The entire gun was just smoking. I would shoot a mag and it would just look like it was cooking off smoke. So I got it hot, did not have any issues with reliability. If you want more of a strong reciprocation and maybe it snaps forward a little harder, you can, but I did not find any issues with just sort of, boom, I would shoot, it would reciprocate, and the dot would stay mostly in the window. With some guns, sometimes they'll stay in the window, sometimes they won't. With larger red dots optics, sometimes it's a little bit easier to keep the dot in the window under recoil, but really it's more about you shoot and you want to be ready to shoot again as soon as possible. And as soon as that dot is back on target, you pull the trigger again. You're not really controlling the recoil mid-flight. You just want it to return consistently. And this gun does. It's very heavy. It reciprocates good. I really like the way this gun shoots. I want to take this out to a USPSA match soon. And when I do so, hopefully I'll be able to film that and talk about it a little bit more. But so far it's been great. It shoots really well. I like it. I've not had a problem with it yet. Is this gun kind of expensive? Yes, but it's one of their upper end P320 models, so that's kind of to be expected. Now, you can do all sorts of stuff with the P320. If you wanted to get an inexpensive option, this is not it. If you wanted to heavily modify, like change the slide, change the grip, this is not the one to get. The P320 X Full would be a better option. The M18 would be a better option because you can just get the gun that's cheaper, sell off the other parts, build it up however you want it, and then go from there. But this gun I really like. And I believe this is one of the only X5 Legion P320s that actually has a physical safety. So if you want that and you don't want to cut the frame yourself or cut the grip yourself, this is a great option. Unfortunately, if you live in another state, you're going to end up with 10-round mags, which you probably don't want. But if you are in the state of California and you have your Freedom Week magazines, you can just put those in, no problem. No problem at all. Now, the standard 17-round mags, again, like I said, you're going to need the new base plates. But I do like this gun a lot. It shoots really well. I'm interested to see what you guys have to say about it. Let me know down in the comments if you plan on getting one of these, if you like it, if you don't like it. Let me know what you think about drop testing. I did a whole lot of dropping this gun. Keep in mind, in order to get on the handgun roster in the state of California, this gun had to be drop tested, so it is drop safe. So I put a primed case in there with no powder, no bullet, dropped it a bunch, mashed it down on the ground a bunch, nothing. It did not go off. So, you know, I think that is, at this point, not an issue. But I'm not going to let SIG off the hook completely and not mention that, because the original P320 having that problem, that should never have been a problem to begin with. So let me know what you think. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.